game plan. My name is Lindsay Stevenson. I work in the Shawnee Mission School District, and I am currently as well an educational consultant. I've worked as a deaf educator, an English and reading teacher, and most presently an instructional coach. I present for the Flipped Learning Network nationally every year. I am a Google certified trainer, a parent, a wife, and an animal lover. Goals for today is that teachers will be able to envision a plan for their course both for hybrid or virtual situation, and teachers will understand the frameworks for building a strong digital presence. So the first thing that I think every teacher right now needs to do is the only thing we have control over, right, is to define what these things look like in each scenario. If kids are in our classroom, what does individual work look like, digital work look like, and collaborative work look like? If we are in a hybrid learning environment, what does individual work, digital work, or classroom work actually look like? What should they expect? What is our plan? If we are in virtual learning environment, what does individual work look like? What does digital class time work look like? So just kind of describing different scenarios within those three possible outcomes. When we're using technology with purpose, there is some basic consumption. That's kind of our depth of knowledge 1 on the technology chart, right? So our videos that for direct instruction, readings they have to do, notes from our slides. That's that basic consumption of information. But the other 3 is like, what do we have them do with all that information? So allow them to create, allow them to select. You could give them just this one square, creation square. Have them choose a podcast, an infographic, a presentation, video, or website. They'll figure out how to do it. You don't have to know how to actually help them do it. They just need to Google it and follow directions or watch YouTube, and they will figure it out. But that is a great opportunity for assessment in the creation square there to allow students to create a product to demonstrate the mastery of their understanding of the skills. Collaboration. So helping them to use shared documents and shared slides, group writes, back channeling discussions, and then curating information. So gathering current events on a Padlet. So everyone puts their current event on the Padlet, and then you have to read 3 others' current events, comment on it, and comment on those 3. Researching, planning projects. So just for some design thoughts digitally, you want to limit your fonts to 2 to 3. Limit your colors to 2 to 3. Keep it simple and clear, and create an easy navigation capability. Please keep in mind also there's these legalities that actually do apply to us as teachers. COPPA, like the way that you remain compliant with COPPA is that you read the terms of service, you have parental approval for anybody under the age of 13, and communicate with parents what you're doing with what apps. FERPA, in the technology side of things, you're protecting that student and family information, the names, phone numbers, addresses, etc. Do not use student numbers or social security numbers to create accounts, and protect their birth date. Lots of programs that ask you to create accounts for your kids ask for their birth date. And so try and keep, like if you have a Google login for things, that's safe. Try not to create your own accounts for your kids because generally we're breaking FERPA compliance at some point there. And then copyright. How to ethically use images online. Make sure that not only you are ethically using images online, but your students are as well. These are some sites they can use where they can do a Google image search, use the filtering tools, and look at the usage rights. So like you can filter out things that are only free domain and have only things appear that are free domain. So we've got 2 types of learning, synchronous and asynchronous. Synchronous is like if you're in hybrid, you'll be synchronous most likely when they come to your classroom. They'll be asynchronous when they're outside your classroom. If you're all remote, there's going to be synchronous times when you have them digitally logging in to have a chat with you, asynchronous outside of that. So you're going to probably have a balance of the 2 here. Asynchronous means it's self-paced, it's personalized. That can be video mini lessons, discussions, reflection. Synchronous can be the real-time discussions, the community building, and the mini lesson. So one thing I heard a lot last spring is just like kids just aren't motivated. And I heard that before COVID, that like COVID didn't just magically unmotivate our kids, right? So people have said that for almost my entire career. Kids aren't motivated. We do have a secret power as teachers. We have tools to help make them motivated. Curiosity is one of the number one motivators. So use those essential questions, those themes, those inquiry-based learnings. Like send them on the hunt for the information. Don't just give it to them. Autonomy and choice, providing choice in how they demonstrate what they learn, providing choice in the path they can take to learn. Like maybe one person really likes to read, maybe another person really wants to be exploring online. Like give them options. Connection and authenticity. We really have to work hard to connect our content to their lives. And if we cannot draw that connection, they just simply do not care. And we as human beings, even as adults, are not that different. Like we just don't care if we're not interested in something in the same way we care about things when we are interested in something. Collaboration, using those back channels, help them express their thoughts. It should be their voices that we're hearing in a virtual environment. And then help them build confidence and competence. So like help them feel like they can do it and that they did a great job if they did a good job. So feedback throughout the entire learning process is extremely important. Some of those digital skills that we need to learn to embed into our virtual lessons are the functional skills of just using a trackpad, how to copy and paste, toggling between multiple tabs that are open. Our digital collaboration skills, like give them an email template so they learn how to email teachers. They don't know how to email, and we get mad when they send us like bad emails. So let's just give them a template so they learn how to send a professional email and then wean them off of the template over time. Creation skills, screencasting, curating material, finding those free domain images, and consuming information. So we can't teach everything in a remote or hybrid environment. We just can't because we just don't have the same amount of time with every kid. So we need to pick the most important skills, pick the most effective strategies, and we need to find what is most effective practice for mastery, working towards mastery on the most hyper-focused skills. We have our building blocks for how we would build out this time. We're going to pre-test and front load. We're going to have community builders, a mini lesson, application, formative assessment, and then student reflection. We still need to provide these breaks for them to chew on and process that information. So if I normally lecture for 2/3 of the time, what does that look like now? It looks like a lot of mini lessons, screen and processing breaks, formative checks for understanding. Like every day, there's now a formative check for understanding. We have to know constantly where they are. We have to formatively check constantly. We need to give them feedback multiple times in a week. Feedback is not a grade, however. Feedback is a conversation. It's a dialogue. What does homework look like? Homework is limited in these situations. We want the homework to be super focused on the skills, promoting mastery, using purposeful technology, and allowing for us to provide them feedback. If we can't give them feedback before the final grade goes on the homework, then it's not homework that we should be doing. So John Hattie has his impact on learning of different strategies, and he does this research every year. And so we know what works based on his research. We know that direct instruction is in the zone of desired effects. So our direct instruction now looks like videos. So we could use any of these programs here in the what to use. We break instruction into mini lessons. It's no longer than 10 minutes. We provide students something to do while they watch it. And we review the video lesson norms every single time. Some of those norms might be closing other tabs, pausing and taking notes frequently, turning on your volume, because they'll listen to something else and watch your video and not listen to you, and then watch and rewatch and pause as needed. We know discussions are high on the zone of desired effects for learning. So think, pair, share virtually. Individual cognitive task first, breakout rooms to pair by 2s or 3s, and then provide slides in advance with those directions. A virtual collaboration back channel. Using any of these tools here in the first column. Provide very clear directions, provide debatable topics, don't grade it, just let them process. and then to remind them to be kind with their words, ask a question, answer questions, provide evidence. Collaborating on slides. Every student has their own slide. You provide a very focused task. Make sure that you monitor the slides and have students comment on other people's slides and then make their own before commenting on 3 others. Same with our docs. Collaborative writing, collecting resources, back channeling. Socratic seminar can be done virtually. Communicate who's in each group. You have 2 groups and what are those roles. Provide a Google form or a signed doc for the observers to take structured notes while they participate. Provide the discussion prompt and a timer and use the chat space as a back channel. So you'll have all the people in the inside circle talking. All the people on the outside circle are going to be observing that day. They're not real circles, obviously. They're in a video room, but it still can be done. We can utilize breakout rooms and collaborative documents to help Jigsaw. Jigsaw is a 1.2 on the impacts of desired effects of learning. That is huge. We break up an article into groups of 5. The teacher does this in advance and assigns it as homework. So I've grouped kids. I've assigned each of those 5 or 6 people to read different sections of the article. I'm going to make 5 groups categorized by A, B, C, D, or E. So when they read the article, they read part A, part B, part C, part D, part E. So I'm going to create a shared document for each of the groups and have them hold discussions online on those documents. They're going to return to those original groups of 5 and now share the main points. So I'm going to pre-assign breakout rooms to accommodate this specific grouping. So within one breakout room, there's a person from each category of the article, so they all together make a whole article. And they're going to share what they talked about with their collaborative document group, and they're going to share what they learned. Feedback. Feedback is so imperative to motivation. So they learn it. They don't probably get it at first, so now they're going to ponder and think about it. And then they're probably going to mess up. They'll figure out what questions they need to ask, and then they're going to get their grade. And what I saw happening a lot is that we introduced material and then we gave them a grade, and we kept giving them more information and giving them a grade, and we missed all this other stuff. So if we miss one opportunity to coach them along the way, it really breaks the cycle for them. If you get all the way to just screwing up in that heart-shaped picture, you feel hopeless. Well, the teacher hasn't said anything, so she doesn't know I don't get it, or he doesn't know, and I don't know what to do next, and they give up. So it's really important that we continue to give them a little bit of feedback all the way along this process. The grade is the dead end. That's the end result. They're going to throw that one in the trash. They're done. They're most excited about the new information right in the middle, right after they've had an opportunity to really ponder it for just a little bit. That's where we need to give the feedback. Feedback can be on a shared document. So one student has a document, and that's where you put all of their feedback. It can be through Kaizenna. That allows you to do video, allows you to do audio recordings and written notes. If they're giving you video projects, Comment Bubble is my go-to. You can do generic feedback through the video or type something specific, and it timestamps it off on the right column so kids can see what it is you wrote. You can have generic feedback on a Google quiz. Make it a quiz, immediately release after submission. Click on Answer Key. Click on Add Answer Feedback. Select your right answer, add answer feedback, and you can provide links or videos for incorrect answers to help them figure it out and try again. So then they find out what they got wrong, what they need to do to relook at that and try again. They see what they got right and have some positive reinforcement. You can do this with short answer as well. Not the paragraph answer, just short answer. So I click short answer, answer key, and I put in any of the correct answers. So maybe some with caps, some without. Answer feedback. It's still possible with short answers. So methods of teaching with the virtual component would be like a hyperdoc. So a hyperdoc it's going to provide that engaging curiosity, the exploration, the explaining. So the explaining is really where you're going to come in and give your direct instruction. That might be where your videos go. They apply the information, share the information, have a reflection, and an extension. This is an asynchronous method. If you develop a hyperdoc, it should get you through at least 2 weeks of learning and allows you to focus on the feedback. Like, you just think about, okay, while they're working on this for 2 weeks, how am I going to give them feedback and keep them motivated and coach them along? Explore, flip, apply. Provide them your questions. So explore is the guided inquiry, the essential questions. The flip are the videos and resources, and the apply is what are they going to do with that information to show you that they've learned it. In a hybrid situation, the best face-to-face time is going to be creating, evaluating, and analyzing. Like, that's what we want to focus on, because they can really do the rest of that Bloom's Pyramid on their own at home. So creating, evaluating, analyzing. Applying information might work there too, but lots of discussion and critiquing and having those like deeper thought, guide them through the deeper thought discussions in person. Flipped learning works with hybrid as well. It does not work with remote. Flipped learning actually has a home component and an in-class component. And so flipped learning isn't necessarily going to work unless you're hybrid. You want to have some meaningful engagement in the class, and you want to have the direct instruction at home. And so that would mean that you're going to do like a Socratic seminar in class, but they're going to watch the videos on their own. I mean, that in itself, if you make your Socratic seminar virtual, it might work. But the real point of the flipped learning is individual face-to-face time with every student every day. And we just can't do that remotely. That is not possible remotely. So flipped learning is the intention of having face-to-face interaction with every student every day. Response to intervention could be used with a hybrid situation. So when kids come to your class, you're using those formative assessments to know who needs support, you're grouping them accordingly, and you're helping them to recover information that maybe they missed when they were at home. Assessments change in the way that we need to be creative. They need to be creative. We need them creating materials to show us what they learned. It's not a testing format anymore in the way that we traditionally think about it. Give them different problems to solve, like critical thinking. Give them scenarios, case studies. Give them opportunity to present you with the information or create a test of their own. But we need to give them things that they are creating in order to assess them without having that possibility of them cheating. So here are some of my tools. This would be an example of flipped writing homework. They would watch the video and summarize the skill before they would start to write in my class. This is their reading units. These are full units I release for mastery level learning for flipped learning. So I would be coaching them along the way. I would be helping them. But they essentially are working through this asynchronously. They have readings at 3 different levels, but the same output of information. So they can choose where they want to fall. Like if they just need to take it easy that week, maybe they choose a level 1. But if they're those kids that like to work and have a challenge, that might be a level 3. So this was differentiated assignments. This is an middle school example for career explorations. She had them stop after every column, so she had them stop so that she could do teacher approval. That quiz let her know whether or not to sign that box. So each column ended with a quiz. This is a pacing guide, asynchronous, so if kids got done early, then she had an extension activity for them that they could go do that was more of a project-based activity. So apps and websites I recommend. Zoom for breakouts. Blendspace is a great way to organize your information. It helps kids to be asynchronous. Wakelet is a great collaboration tool for kids when they're curating information for research. Canva is a great place to go for students to do infographics, posters, brochures, logos, or collaborate with their peers. They can share and collaborate with Canva and both work on a project together. Verso app protects student autonomy, promotes authentic responses, and it supports flipped learning. So there is a paid and a premium, and so a paid premium and a free version. The free version is very limited, but it's worth trying for at least one class discussion. YoTeach is my go-to app for back channeling right now, creating that conversation that's happening behind the scenes. It's a very, very good app, and it helps the teacher to have some control over what's happening. Padlet is a great go-to. Use it for current events. It gives a good social interaction here. Processing Break. Poll Everywhere has so many options that you can throw it in for those processing breaks in your presentations online really, really easily. Flipgrid is always something students enjoy. News ELA for it's interactive. Lexile adjusts. It's a great reading tool. Actively Learn is probably the best digital reading tool that is available right now. Actively Learn is going to provide close reads. It has multiple contents, multiple grade level and Lexiles. It allows the teacher to give feedback as the students are reading digitally, so you can actually see if they're understanding and send them back to sections of the text to read again. Kami is going to allow your students to write and interact with PDFs. Diigo is going to support their research skills, so it helps them to highlight websites as they're researching, save them in an outliner. If you use Google Docs, the Highlight Google add-on in Docs is amazing. It helps organize their information, helps them interact with their digital reading. And finally, Insert Learning. Insert Learning goes over any website that you might assign to them. So it makes it an interactive website. It's stuff that you design. You create the sticky notes and the questions and the polls and discussions that they interact with while they read. Thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great year. Please email me at teachwithstevenson@gmail.com if you have any questions as your year goes on.